Hello, Elisa. Thank you for joining us here at Voices of the World. This is the last episode for the COVID, about our COVID topic. So you're the last one in my list for this story. So it's nice to have you here. You're my neighbor and now friend. And I think you have a very interesting story about COVID and how you ended up here in Belgium with your job and also with, I want to hear your adventure because it was quite quite something. You want to introduce yourself and tell us?
Sure. Hi, neighbor. My name is Elisa, and I am here in Belgium since late February 2020 with my family, my husband, and my now nearly 4-year-old child. We came in technically from Ireland, and I work here as a seconded expert to the European Commission. And we came here about 2 weeks before lockdown. So we knew COVID existed, but like many other people, I think, and I'm a bit ashamed to say this, I just thought it was something that was happening somewhere else. It was going to happen here. So we didn't think it was going to have any impact on our move to Brussels. And that was very wrong.
Also wrong.
Very wrong. So we managed to find a lovely apartment, and then all of a sudden we were not supposed to move in until late March, and all of a sudden 2 weeks after we arrived, everything shut down. So
I remember that you had a mattress and
yeah, so basically our move, so the container that was coming from Ireland with all our belongings, did not leave Ireland, and so everything was put in storage. And we moved then on a rush. The last day the shops were open, so we managed to get a mattress delivered, literally just a mattress. And then we moved from our Airbnb to here with just pushing the pram full of stuff, because you couldn't get a taxi. You couldn't get anyone to move your things.
That's right.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing,
so we just walk, and I don't know how many trips we did walking up and down with the stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, and all we had was like 3 suitcases. We all winter clothes because it was February, and so we just moved in with just a mattress on the floor and nothing else.
So I remember that I had to lend you well, I remember that it was a coincidence because you're also married to an Irishman, you're Italian like me. So it was a strange coincidence when the owner of your apartment told us that you're moving over. And it was such an unlucky time. So I remember they said, like, what do you need? Like, I think that our building is quite cool because everybody helps each other. We're quite close.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's very cool for that. So remember that I lent you a pot and a pan or something, because he said, I got a big pot, but I don't have a small pot. So it was like last minute things. And you had no internet, I remember, because you were working and you had no internet.
Yeah, so Proximus basically cancelled all new installations. So obviously we were a new installation, so they cancelled ours, and they didn't come for 2 months actually. And so I worked off my phone for hotspot for 2 months, which was very patchy. And and then, without saying that, starting a new job from home, it's obviously difficult because you don't really, it's hard to get to know the culture of the place and what you're supposed to do, all of that. Plus, the fact that you've got, he was like just turned 2 to entertain. We had no books, no toys, no Netflix,
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing.
Because you had a CD player where you were trying to entertain him, and then that broke. So we gave you our ancient laptop, where this was still a DVD player. This is like an old model of Dell, and you were using that to entertain Noah, to play around while you were working. Because technically you couldn't really go out much, right? I mean,
no. So the hard part was also that the weather was amazing. Then it got really good. Like the first 2 weeks was really raining, and then lockdown started and the weather was fantastic, but all the playgrounds were closed and you could not sit down anywhere. So you could go and you could go for a walk, but you could never stop. And actually, the police was enforcing that. They were there and they were, telling people to stand up. So, well, we spent a lot of time at home.
Yeah. And with no TV and only DVD. So I guess that was good for Noah. Noah was like, he was in a crash very, very young when you were in Ireland, right? So you
Yeah,
saw him
yeah,
a few hours a day. It
yeah.
must have been a shock for him too.
Yeah. I think he was the winner of COVID, is my son, because I was also commuting from Dublin to Luxembourg for a while. So I would never see him during the week. And then when I was working in Dublin, I would never see him in the morning. So now all of a sudden I was, home all the time and I could see him at breakfast and, just throughout the day. And it was great. So I I I think for me, and possibly I could speak for my husband as well, it was one of the best times of our lives, although it was very difficult because we just had time to spend as a family with no distractions. So that was good. Yeah.
And
And
that was the
then
positive side, I guess, of this.
yeah. And then eventually we got our stuff sent over, and that was great. And then in September, we actually received the bed, because the other side the problem with COVID was if you were looking for furniture, IKEA was in delivery. Like you couldn't buy anything new, so you could buy secondhand, and we found a lot secondhand. But the problem was like transport. You couldn't really, especially at the beginning, you couldn't ring a man with a van because they wouldn't. They were
Yeah,
just saying no, we're
exactly.
not coming. So it was quite difficult to furnish a place. And then eventually, even if you bought something online, because the supply chain got so disrupted, we got our bed in September. It was so late, and when we got it and we put it on together, and my son came back from crash and he saw it. The first thing he said, "Mama, a trampoline." Like he probably forgot what a bed looked like, because we had the mattress on the floor for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting
So
times for him, I guess.
very exciting. Yeah,
And
you
then
still
you were
think.
using a borrowed couch, right? Your landlord gave you your couch too, so you were. And then there was the
Yeah.
second lockdown anyway. So in October, everything started from scratch. But in the summer, you managed to go see your sister, right? In Holland.
Yeah, because my sister lives in America but is married to a Dutchman, so they escaped the States and spent the summer to the Netherlands. And we, being in Belgium, was easy then to just go up and see them. So that was great. And my parents went up as well, so we managed to see each other.
You were very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, we were lucky, in fairness, for that. But we couldn't go over, for example, to see my sister if we wanted to. So I think that was hard, like knowing that you couldn't go somewhere if there was an emergency or anything. It was just not open for Europeans. So yeah. So finally, I think they're going to open. Or probably they've opened already. I don't know, for us too, which is great.
To go to the US, you mean now?
Yeah. Not that I'm planning to, but knowing that I can, that's
It's
good. But
nice.
like the other, yeah. But for me, the other side of COVID, it's like I don't want to really be on a plane anymore if I can avoid it.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel the
I
same.
think I'm surprised. Like I feel like before COVID, I always wanted to be outside. Like I just never really wanted to be home, and now I like being home. I like being outside, but I don't think I miss the world as much as I should have. I was quite content in my bubble.
Mm.
Um, and now it's nice that it's opening, and you can do a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I'm just afraid that it's going to get too busy too quickly, and that I'm going to miss, the slower pace of life.
Yeah, I feel the
Yeah.
same. I mean, in a way, I'm excited to go and travel again to see friends. But then I think of the hassle of being on a plane, and then with the fact that people are not fully vaxxed, you don't know who you're getting the plane with. It's all a mixed amount of feelings that you're trying to suppress. Like, maybe I should just calm down and relax a bit about it. But there are so many people that they are not really, they don't want to get
Oh,
vaxxed,
yeah.
and they are, and now in Brussels as well, there's a lot of people. I think we're only 62% of adults there are vaxxed. So as you said in the example of the gym that you were telling me about, that like they don't want to enforce this pass
Yeah.
control when you're there sweating with other people in a room. I don't think that's
Well,
reassuring in any way. In the winter, where people get cold and that I get a cold, and then they should also impose the fact that people with a slight cold should not come into the office ever, ever.
yeah, I think it's hard to enforce it probably. But yeah, especially if you're working open plan. But
But
talking about
in your case, in your office, they don't have like the full office, right, on a Tuesday.
no, it's only our unit going into work on a Tuesday. So it's I've only gone once, and I'm going tomorrow. I haven't felt it was overcrowded. We were all wearing masks, so we're very respectful of the rules. I'm not sure that everywhere is like that, but I know the gym that I'm thinking of attending from 1st of October is already saying that they don't think they're going to enforce it, which was kind of a bit scary to hear that, because I would base my membership to a gym on the basis that they are going to enforce the COVID pass. So hopefully that will happen, and hopefully it was just a mistake by the receptionist, but I'll investigate that.
We'll see how these people they don't want to be vaccinated will react to this pass, because I have a friend, she doesn't want to get vaccinated. And the excuse is like, yeah, I don't have the freedom to choose. It's like, you are choosing, you're choosing not to take it, but is it really the right thing to do right now? Because she's going by the idea of, yeah, everybody else will be vaccinated, so I will be fine. It's like,
Yeah, it's the same idea of people not paying tax and wanting to use the public health service. It's like, yeah,
you can't.
everybody's paying, so I can use it, and I'm not chipping in.
No,
And it's just like, it doesn't work like that.
but
We're all
then
in it
you get
together.
lynched. You get lynched if you do these comparisons. Did you notice? You cannot compare this to
I know,
anything.
I
I
know,
mean, if you look
but
at the public, like if you look at just at the internet opinions, that you can't do anything. I mean, I know you're not on Facebook or anything, but I'm kind of active in that thing, so I can see that you cannot compare this wanting to be vaccinated to anything else at all, which is really, it's like infuriating.
see, I think it depends, because I actually know quite an amount of anti-vaxxers even before COVID, which is even crazy to say that. I even know a flat earth person that I just couldn't believe. But yeah, and so I think for me, there's two types of people when it comes to anti-vaccines. It's like in COVID, it's like the people that don't believe that COVID exists. And I don't think you can change their mind. So it's like anti-vax, COVID doesn't exist, it's a conspiracy. They all, someone, out there is trying to kill us all and put some microchip in our, I don't know where.
System,
And
yeah.
I think it's just like that. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. And then there's the people that are kind of, I don't think they mean anything wrong. They're just afraid, that they don't understand the science behind it, which I don't either, because I'm not a scientist, but I trust science and the scientists. And maybe these people are like, oh, I'm not so sure. I see what happens, and maybe I'll wait a year or two. And I think those are the people that you can change their mind. So
But
hopefully.
there are so many things we don't know anything about, the science behind certain type of food, certain things, that's a medicine that we take, like, I don't know anything. But because this one was developed within 9 months, like I had the fear that myself, I have to admit, I was also unsure. And I think we talked about the fact that I didn't want to get AstraZeneca, for example, because I thought that there might be a chance, being a woman, being a certain age, there might be a risk, even though they had maybe, I don't know how many deaths by this thing. So the fear was there. But like, so I remember fighting to get the Pfizer, and also you and your husband were trying to get the Pfizer if possible, because we felt that was the most trustworthy thing. But then when, these people that you're talking about, they have a fear and they don't know the science behind it. I remember that you and me and other people were reading about it, say, how did they develop? How did they know it went so fast?
Yeah.
And we found out that this virus was just a development of another virus that existed before. So they knew already what type of virus it was. It wasn't completely unknown. We didn't know that the effect was going to be so lethal, but we knew that the basic was like a mutation from another virus. So I guess that I don't know if I can accept the fact that some people have this, because then they cover it up with the fact that they want to have a choice. It's their body, their choice. And I don't know if that's valid anymore when it's about the whole community.
See, I think that's it. For me, it's not. It was never about me, the vaccine. It was about my grandparents, for example. It was about the people that that can't protect themselves, so need all of us to protect.
Exactly.
It was never just about myself. It's not that I think, oh my God, I'm so strong. If I get COVID, nothing is going to happen. But I think for me, it was always so that we could go back and have drinks in bars, that we can go to restaurants, we could go to the gym and the pool and travel, for everybody. And I think it's a very narrow view, my body, my choice, and I don't need it because I'm strong. Like I have a friend of mine, it's like, who actually got COVID, and as a result now, because really didn't believe in it, and so she was still going to dinners and all that kind of stuff when you couldn't. It was locked down, and she got COVID, and now she has long COVID. But she's still not getting the vaccine, and she's still thinking that the vaccine is going to be poisonous, and it's better for her body to be the way it is now. And it's like the woman is exhausted; she can't even work properly anymore. So I don't think you could really change that mind. Maybe
But like,
I'm a bit cynical.
wouldn't even they think, like as you said, you did it also to protect other people, because the biggest fear for us was that we were going to pass it on to someone else. That was the biggest fear. Do you remember when we decided to have like Easter, and we had the scare that Noah might have gotten in the kindergarten, and we didn't have the party went from 6 or 7 we were supposed to be, we went like to 6 to 4 or something, because there was that fear, because you didn't want to pass it on. And I don't know if I told you about in when we were going to Venice with Ambrose, and we got the scare, and we called Milena, and we said, oh, I think Ambrose tested positive, and he was like, oh, the fear that we passed it on to people, because even if we were vaxxed, it was like a false positive. So it was like the biggest scare. That's the most humiliating part for me, is like knowing that I would pass it on to someone. So I don't know how these people can live with that. Also, it's like so selfish to think my body, my choice, that you think, yeah, but what about if you get it, you pass it on to your friends? Like, you don't think about that. It's your choice to be vaccinated, but it's not like Ebola or AIDS, where you have to have a certain combination of situation that you pass it on to someone, very specific. This is airborne. So you're like, you have no option.
I don't understand, like, maybe the very low sense of responsibility, obviously, towards society. I really don't know how you can change that. But maybe trust in the institutions, it would help. But I think there was a lot of missed messages at the beginning, especially about the vaccine. Like, one day you could get AstraZeneca from this age to this age. The next day was a different age, and then it was good. And then it was, maybe they were going to pull it. That doesn't help. People that already can't really make a decision, or don't really like the idea of vaccines, that didn't help.
Yeah.
So
they didn't have the misinformation and the paranoia. I think that a lot of people felt that there was so much. That obviously also some lies did not help at the start, like when they were saying you don't need a mask, but then again you do need a mask at the very very start. So that obviously plays with your brain, and is like, okay, what is the truth? And the truth was that they knew nothing. So obviously that's not reassuring. but you try to do your best within what you know. So, and I think right now, after a year, after the whole of Israel has been vaccinated with one, and they've been the guinea pigs like with the UK, we can maybe change our mind, because it's an evolution, right? You would think people would move on and evolve with their thinking, like following what's happening and deciding the decision. I mean, I can understand we were not pro-vaccine maybe a couple of months ago, but now it's like, okay, things look okay. People are not dying off like flies. So let's maybe change our position.
Yeah. Hopefully, a lot of people will change their mind. Hopefully, the restrictions, the use of the COVID pass or COVID ticket will do it. But yesterday, I went to my first COVID safe event, and it was great. So you had to present your, COVID certificate at the entrance, and then you were mask free. And it was inside, and I felt really awkward being inside without the mask. I thought, oh my God, but it was great. And actually at the door there was a family. It was a mother and daughter. They wanted to get in, but they didn't have it and they didn't get in. So I thought, oh, okay, so here it is working. So hopefully these people will be pushed then to go for the vaccine, if they see that the things that they want to do are not accessible to them anymore. But then again, I think then you could have groups of anti-vaxxers, for example, creating events for themselves,
Yeah, that's true. Another thing that I thought
So,
about. Then
yeah.
it would become again, then there would be the risk of having these pools of COVID, even though like these people meeting, maybe they become another like nest of COVID because they're doing it for non-vaxxers. That would be totally crazy, actually. That idea that they would go that far not to be vaccinated to do it. And then the kids, they go to school and they have parents that are not vaxxed. What do you do in that case? When you're sending your child and you don't know whose parents are vaxxed or not vaxxed, it's a minefield to think about.
There, what can you do? Like, I mean, I think you can't ask people. They're
Yeah.
entitled not to say, which I understand. But for example, I think my sister had an issue there in America where she has one of her sons is disabled, and actually his aide got sick with COVID because she wasn't vaccinated. And my sister was really upset about this because she couldn't believe that somebody that works in school with children with disability was allowed to work without the vaccine, because obviously her son is like at risk. It's like a kind of a fragile category. So I don't think that should be allowed. I think at least the staff has to be vaccinated. You can't control what the parents do. But then again, you don't even know if the children are vaccinated for measles and things like that. So, but at least the staff, also to protect themselves, because, I mean, schools are full of all sorts of things anyways, the best.
You're sure there are bacteria pool and virus pool, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
but then you wonder why the healthcare workers in Italy and France are like striking because they don't want to get vaccinated. That's another thing that blows my mind about that too. It's something that I will not understand, but what can you do? We have to survive that. But I guess we can say that for you as a human being, you enjoyed partly this COVID time, and your husband, I know, was also at home all the time. And for him, that is an artist, I guess it was strange to be in a country and be completely out of his his artistic world and stuff, right? But I know that then he rented a place to do his art, right? So it was in his own and he could start something.
So eventually last August 2020, he managed to rent a studio. So he's been there just over a year now, and he started this month an art academy. And we discovered there's actually a lot of really affordable art academies in Brussels. So he joined one, possibly he's going to join the second one.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah. So he's looking into it this week. Um, and that would be great for him to get to know people that are like-minded, because since he joined the studio, where he's now in August 2020, he's alone in the studio. Like there's neighbors, and he may have a chat with them, but it's not very collaborative space. So and then there's also the language barrier. So my husband doesn't speak any French, and everybody in the studio where he is kind of is French speaker, not so much English
Mm-hmm.
speaking. So, but I think where he is now is there's actually a few English people in the art school, and
Oh,
then
good, good.
all the instructors are from abroad. So I think the common language is English where he is now, which is great for him. And yeah, because I don't think he's going to learn French. So.
For you though, was like you already spoke some French, so when you moved here, you kind of were able to cope with the with the bureaucracy
Yes.
of it all, right?
Oh my
Of the
God.
kind it was
Yes.
super funny with the commune and you trying to get your permanent residency because everything was blocked as well. It was like a super challenge because there was no appointment for you to get signed up to the commune and everything.
Oh, it was a pure nightmare. Like if everybody should warn people, when you come to Brussels, be aware of the commune, because it's such a process. It was so difficult for us. I think Fred, it took a year nearly.
Yeah,
Yeah, January 2021, finally he got registered. We're still
yeah.
getting letters that he's not registered. Like we got one last week, so I'll have to deal
No
with that.
way.
But yeah, no, the commune is the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah,
Between
definitely that.
parking spaces, license and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, I
uh,
got mine on in February, so this year. So I felt pretty lucky because I remember I couldn't believe that I got my permission. Yeah, that was another thing.
yeah.
Getting an
But no, but
appointment through COVID was hard.
the problem for us, apart from everything with the commune, it was also with the agent quartier, which is basically a policeman that comes to check whether you actually live there. And our local agent de quartier was on long-term sick leave, and so that was it. They weren't appointing anyone else to come and check us, and so we were just like, but I mean, okay.
Life goes
So
on. We have to
what are we
be.
supposed to do? I understand he's sick, and I'm really sorry for him, and I hope he's going to get better soon. But planning to maybe devise his roads with other agents de quartier. So basically, I had to contact the ombudsman. Um,
But we
uh,
managed. I mean, how
yeah.
many months later? So, geez.
Oh, it was a nightmare. Yeah, so I had to contact the ombudsman twice for things related to registering with the commune. So and also I think at a post ombudsman. Like basically, I think when eventually we bought a secondhand car from a Polish lady that was moving back to Poland, and the best advice she gave me was like, if you want to get anything done here officially, you need to write. So basically what she meant is that you need to complain in a written form, because you can call and go there, but nobody's going to listen to you until you write. And that's how I solved everything here so far, has been writing to the ombudsman, which is crazy, but we're used to it. I mean, I don't get annoyed anymore. I actually don't.
It's part of life in Brussels. So I guess
Yeah.
with COVID that just made it worse because people were not going to the office, so there was actually no people physically there to do the job. And I don't know how organized they were working from home. These people, I don't know if they actually had the facility to do it. You were lucky because they gave you a laptop straight away, right? You went in. Did you go to
Yes.
the office even once at the start?
I did. I did. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
One
So I
time.
actually, I was lucky to meet the people I worked with, although briefly. but I did need them, and it was great. But at the same time, I think this for the people that joined any job during the pandemic, I feel sorry for them, but at least they knew it was gonna it was already happening. Where it caught me by surprise completely, and it shouldn't have, because in Italy things were already not great. But I just didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah, but Italy was the
Yeah.
first big red flag. Then we realized, oh, this
Yeah.
is coming really close. So yeah, it was tough. But thankfully, your family, they were all fine, right? Nobody got it, as far
Everybody.
as I know.
No, nobody. No. So very lucky, and
Very
all
lucky.
vaccinated as well, which is great.
And also from your husband's side, that his mom is quite old,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything went okay. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you think, to wrap it up? What did you think? You're happy it's over? You're happy that it's happened? Maybe did you learn something from it?
Yeah,
One positive,
definitely.
one negative.
Okay. The negative is that for sure, um, it took me longer to learn to do my job
Hmm.
because I was, missing the first maybe few months where you really train and you can ask a million questions directly, immediately. That, yeah, that I missed that. And also the fact that we were able to travel by rail. I really wanted to visit a lot of things that are around here without taking the car, taking advantage of, the location
Yeah, of course.
of
Yeah.
Brussels. So, but that will happen, So, and the positive, I've learned to slow down and
Ah.
also to organize packed lunches, and yeah, it's great because now I still do it. If you go somewhere, I prepare the picnic or whatever, because the coffee, everything, because before if you went outside, you couldn't get anything. So, just
The fact that, because when you were going out through COVID, you really had nowhere to eat or pee or do anything. So you had
nothing.
got organized, as in, we have to bring lunch, we have to bring stuff to,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the day.
yeah. So that was great. It's just like a simpler
Where,
way, of doing things. I like that, and I hope I stick to it for a while. That it's not going to get just like it was before too quickly.
yeah, I guess that, yes, I have to say that sometimes I miss the peace on the road that we had. I went back to the office myself. I was there last week, and it just shocked me that it went from zero when I was going there maybe 2 weeks ago and there was nobody. And then suddenly now everybody's in the office. It seems like from middle of September. So I felt that the
Yeah,
traffic was insane, too many people waiting for coffee, too many people. And I looked back and I went, maybe that was not such a bad thing, that people could work from home at least like 80% of the time. I
yeah.
don't know. I guess
I
that's
agree.
I guess
I
that
find
that
them.
shocked me, because we were talking about this coffee place where we go, and I wanted to go get a coffee, and there was a queue from like never ending, and I thought, oh God, like when I used to come here a few weeks ago, I was on my own, like maybe another two people outside and that's it. But I guess I
Yeah,
don't know. I just hope that humanity learns something from this. Since this is the last episode for COVID, my only hope is that we learn something from it. At least someone has learned something from this. Although my opinion on humanity is not very high, so I just hope that
right.
yeah, so the people got something out of it, even if it was obviously people that did not get sick, did not appreciate that this tough time we went through for 2 years, almost 2 years, right? Yeah, almost 2 years. So I thank you, Elisa, for your time. I'm going to close down the session for today. And again, we'll hear each other again from the Voices of the World soon with new podcasts. Talk to you soon.